you so much for agreeing to record with me bright and early on a Friday. I'm so excited.
Yes,
Get into
me
these
too.
questions. Yes. I've heard nothing but amazing things about you. I've seen you, I feel like, all over social media. So I am just like, oh, I got to talk to this girl. So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. So I wanted to know more about you. I heard that you grew up in promo. So a lot of the guests that we've had so far, they've kind of stumbled their way into promo like I have. But for somebody who's grown up in the business, what did that look like to you?
So I would say that some of my earliest memories of promo. So my grandfather started the company in 1985, Williams Advertising, and my early memories consist of going to his office and drawing after school little pictures, and then also he had this great metal filing cabinet that had magnets, whether they were samples or whether they were things that he had done. He had that just filled. And so I would go in and organize those. And it's so funny. I guess everything comes full circle. When he was still with us, my daughter would go in, and that is the cabinet that she would like to do that with. So it's just funny. But it was something he always did as I was growing up. And, I really, didn't get into it until 2015 is when I joined the company.
Okay.
And I really joined the company thinking my marketing background was coming in, and I was going to start a marketing agency within the promo agency. And then I got interested in promo. So that's when we decided to grow that side of the business as well. So
That's awesome. No, I love it. I love that it's come full circle. And now, like, your
yeah.
daughter will be like coming in to work with you at one day, I
Yeah.
feel like, which I think is so cute. So,
Yeah.
for both divisions of your company, Williams Advertising and Branded by Williams, how are you facilitating the services for both side? And are you focusing like on a specific niche? How are
Mm-hmm.
you kind of setting yourselves apart from your competition?
Yeah, so we Branded is a relatively new brand within Williams Advertising. So Williams Advertising, we do full service marketing. On the marketing side, more so than the promo, we work with more local, smaller businesses typically. And then on the promo side, we work with anybody, anywhere. So we sort of broke off Branded by Williams because those are two different audiences a lot of the time.
Right.
Even if we're working with other agencies as clients, they don't need us to manage their social. They don't need us to design things all the time, or some of those other services that we work with people on. So last year we decided that was going to be something that we decided last year, then COVID. And so we just launched it this year with Branded being its own thing and kind of allowing us to really get in more details about what we do in promotional products.
Okay. No, I think that's awesome because I feel like it's the way that you've grown your business. It seems like it's so natural and organic, especially like Branded by Williams, like, and such a nice compliment to what you're doing because, right, like, you have that ability to service your local community with things like social media management, like pay per click, like website services, things
Mm-hmm.
like that, specifically in the marketing niche. But then also, too, it's like this nice way of people, if they eventually become interested in using promotional products, like, you have that arm as well. So, like, are there any specific audiences that you're focusing on in like either promotional products and in small business, like small business for Branded by Williams, and then promotional products, excuse me, for Williams Advertising?
No, we really work with just about anybody, any
Okay.
types of companies, I think that's something that, when we looked, when COVID first hit, we
Mhm.
looked at, okay, who are our clients? How can we best support them? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
And we really have a broad spectrum of clients. So that's nice that we didn't just have one industry or one certain thing that we were, helping. So.
No, that's cool. I think that's wonderful. I wanted to ask you because when I was reviewing your social media marketing, I really love your approach to social media. I feel like when you have a what I would consider like a soft sell, it's very subtle and I don't even necessarily notice the product, you know, first. Like I notice the moment that you've captured, like whether it's a branded tote bag and you're walking across like the street, you know, in your town, it's like such a great lifestyle shot. And then when I went through your Instagram, I was going through your LinkedIn, I was like, wow, she's really got lifestyle content down pat. And I think that that is so hard to do, especially when obviously, like, you know, it is content that is semi business focused, but it's not like here is a promotional flyer of your list of like sales and specials, you know, and sometimes it's a hat trick to do that in a way that feels like you're engaging and opening a conversation with your audience versus like bye 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 bye. You know, like, and I think you do it so well. So like, you know, what inspired your approach? Like, was there a singular moment? Was it just kind of like, I noticed this gets better results? Like, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think it's really my personal experience in shopping and what I gravitate towards. So, you know, and I even notice this when I'm looking at supplier catalogs. If you show me product that is just on a white background, I don't have the same reaction to it as if you show it in my life how I would use it. And so as I got kind of thinking about, you know, taking a note from retail, you know, if you look at anything that are, you know, everybody is shopping from and social media or retail websites, you know, it's all about lifestyle and how is this product used? And I think that that spills over to promotional products in that, you know, if we're wanting people to buy these things to use in life, we better show them how they should use it in life. So that's just kind of, you know, rather than just show something like on a flyer or just out there, you know, on its own, we want to say, this is how this product could integrate into your life. And then a step further is, you know, like I'm looking at my desk and I have 4 different branded items on my desk right now. And it's because we're using these things, we're enjoying these things. And we want to show you how enthusiastic we are about these items because we believe that your, you know, end users will be too. So it just kind of, you know, taking a moment to capture that moment is the challenge, I guess, but it's not that challenging in that we're already using these items. So I don't know, it just is how I respond to things. And I think a lot of people do. And I think too, when you're too salesy, you know, that's not why people are on social media. They're on there to be social. So
Yeah. I think that honestly, like exactly what you said, like people are on there to be social. And also, too, like there's a little element, I think, of escapism. Don't you feel like online, like maybe it's like we were talking earlier on the broadcast, I mean, prior to the broadcast about like what we do in our free time. So I know for me, sometimes like when I need to decompress, like I'll just go into my phone and next thing I know, like, you know, somebody has a really great image or a piece of multimedia and I'm down like that rabbit hole. So I feel like it's a really great way to get that brand awareness, but also to like get somebody to start engaging and kind of like raise their hand for interest in your business without being pushy and kind of like empowering them. So it's like a decision that's more natural for their purchase decision. Cause I think that's really, really important. So for you, because I feel like you are definitely the vocal point in a lot of the content that is on social, but I also see shots of your team. It seems like you have an amazing like company culture, which is so nice to see. And yeah, and it seems like it's very like family oriented. So that being said, like for you, is there any advice that you would give somebody on creating better lifestyle content, like whether it is writing copy or creating an image that invokes the right emotion in the right context?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our stuff, we've just gotten really comfortable with being our goofy selves on there. So that's step one, you know, like I actually came in this morning and we got a new self promo item. And I came in and I said, here's the idea. And it's, I mean, just watch our social. It's going to be great. It's going to be goofy. It's going to be fun.
I can't wait.
So, yeah. So we just have some fun with it. Don't take ourselves too seriously. And then as far as actually writing the copy and the content, you know, we use a couple different tools really. We use, just because we like, Dropbox paper. That's kind of a relatively new one for us, but we use Dropbox for our file sharing. And so I one day by accident kind of found it, but it allows us to collaboratively amongst the team, make sure that we're writing our copy, and then whoever is doing the graphics for it can be in there as well. And then I can make sure that we are hitting the right buckets. So we always want to make sure that if we are talking to a certain audience, maybe we don't have a certain client type necessarily that we're working with, or an industry that we are, but we know, we're talking to marketing folks, we're talking to HR folks, what's important to them, and kind of having that in check when we're writing our copy.
Yes.
We can organize all of that in that. So we do that. We use Trello to go back and forth and discuss things. When we're creating the graphics, when we're talking about what we want to highlight in our marketing. And then we use Hootsuite some too, to plan out our content, keep ourselves accountable on posting. So those are kind of some of the tools that we use for it.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I was actually just about to ask you that. So you read my mind. So I was going to also ask as well, like outside of the tools, do you guys have any hard and fast rules maybe about, best posting times, or maybe what you keep in your social schedule, or how far out that you plan? Because I feel like, again, it seems like it's a very organic process, but it's still very on brand, which again, I think is really hard to do, is like making sure there's that consistency. So you're having those touches with your audience online, but it doesn't seem like forced, like you're putting out any content to put out content. It's all very meaningful for your audience.
Yeah, I mean, just we really don't go as far out as you would think. I mean, we kind of do it in buckets of time when we have it. And that, I mean, I know that's the challenge for, we work with a lot of small businesses on their social media. And so it's no different for ourselves. Honestly, a lot of times it's, we take care of ourselves last, and so making sure that we have that out there, is a challenge. And so thinking about just it really does work better when we block off the time though, and actually do as much as we can. A lot of times if things can coincide, there's the national days of, and is good so that we can plan for it and celebrate accordingly. But a lot of times it'll just be, we get something like we do unboxing videos. Those are in the moment, of course, when a supplier sends us something and we get all excited about it, we want to show that off. And so we just hit record, and honestly, I mean, that going back to the I guess the organic nature of it, or the real lifeness of it. One day I was here alone and I'm filming one, and the tripod just falls right over in the middle of the video, and I just kept on going. I mean, it is what it is. So it's not always professional. You're going to get our real selves, but I think that's, I think that's good. And I think as things go more towards, IGTV and Reels and TikTok and all the things, it's just real life. So I think as authentic as you can be on social media, I think people connect with that too. So
100%. And I love that you said that you kept going, because I think that is one thing that, hinders people, is they're like, oh, like I bit my tongue, or, I dropped something, or maybe like the lighting wasn't good or something like that. And sometimes like those things are really endearing to people because it feels like a more natural conversation, which I think you guys do really well. So I wanted to ask, through social media, is there maybe like a case study you can share where you got an order or a lead through social media, like somebody noticing a post or content?
Yeah, it's a funny week to be talking about this, because I don't know what's going on this week, but there are about 4 people that have reached out to me that are past either colleagues or people that I was in a different industry with. They
awesome.
Actually, yeah, we have been connected like on LinkedIn. And they've reached out like all in the span of a week, and for very different reasons, very different things. But just one of them said, hey, we're looking to do something a little bit different. We don't want to get things for an upcoming show that would just be wasted, and we know you kind of approach things differently. And so I'm like, yes, that is true. That is how we do things, and so it's great that what I think we're communicating is resonating with people awesome. That I haven't worked with, maybe 5, 10 years in one case, of another one. And so in that case, she said, another person said, hey, I know you go to industry shows and I know you're really involved and things like that. And so we know you know more about, and I'm like, great, that is true too. So it's just really validating to know that our social is actually connecting to real business needs. So one of the coolest, I will say though, is last year we had somebody, again, LinkedIn had somebody reach out and send me a message and said, hey, I saw, about a month ago where you guys did those acrylic barriers, the sneeze guards. Yeah. They said, we just think it's great that you're helping out people right now, and wondered, that's a new client for apparel, because they said, we want to work with a company that's helping people in that way. And so I thought that is so cool that they took the time to do that based on just that project spotlight.
That's so neat. No, that makes me so happy to hear. And do you find for your business, like, because I see you're active on multiple platforms, like, are you guys kind of leaning into one more than another, or find that you get more traction in another?
I will say it's probably right now, probably LinkedIn and Instagram. Okay. With Facebook, we actually haven't launched a dedicated page for promo on Facebook. So I can't entirely say that wouldn't connect now that we're more focused, but Williams Advertising's on Facebook. And what I found is it's great for our community involvement and things like that here locally. But we were getting more the individual or personal orders or things like that, not corporate inquiries as much. We do some, but not as much. So just with bandwidth, we just decided that, hey, we're going to focus over here on these other couple of platforms. And I mentioned earlier that TikTok is a thing, and I know there's several people in the industry that are doing a great job on that. And that's like whenever it occurs, mine is like, if you look at mine, it's a mix of, do I think I'm going to be like a travel influencer or a promotional products influencer? I don't know, and I rarely post, but I think that one is really, really fun, and I spend a lot of time personally over there. So, maybe someday.
I love it though. It's funny because I've seen so many people migrate from other channels onto like TikTok, and it's cool to see also too, like there's some people like Stahl's Heat and Printing and things like that. Next Level Apparel just launched one. So I'll be curious to see how kind of like the corporate flavor like goes into what I feel like is a really personal app. But I definitely have seen some of your TikToks, and I think that they're so good. So I'm like excited to see more of them.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. So I wanted to know, I always like to end with like a fun question. What's like your favorite book you've ever read?
So that one's hard, and I don't have just one, I think. If we're talking about just strictly business books, I've read a lot of leadership, business growth, sales, that sort of thing. Last week, I actually started reading Innovation Stack by Jim McKelvey. It's about the founder, or he's the founder of, or co-founder of Square. And it's really entertaining. And it's just kind of about their unique mix of how they took an idea, and, I'm not finished with it yet, but it's really good. But I had someone recommend to me Traction and Rocket Fuel. And those are probably my most dog-eared books. Those are just really great books about just business planning and goal setting and things like that. I love those. I read a book pre-COVID, I guess, and then it feels like a little bit it was ahead of its time. It's called The Focus Effect by Bruce Bowser. And it is talking about this 8 to 5 thing. And, maybe we don't always have to be physically, in the office for those hours to get our best work. And so just with everything and how the workplace has shifted and how things are going, it's an interesting concept. And so just kind of having that flexibility of mind to get the best results is sort of an interesting, that was a really great book that I read. And then one that's not a business book, but I kind of apply it to business. I don't know if you know Emily Lay. She has the simplified planners and all of that. She has a great book called Grace, Not Perfection. And
Okay.
it's a great life book, but I've applied it to business too. And it's just, yeah. So those are just a few of the top of mind ones, you know.
That's awesome. I can't wait to link them and also queue them all up in like Audible because I'm always looking for new things to listen to, and they all sound amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me early in the morning, Sarah. This was an incredible conversation, and I know that our audience is going to get so much value from it. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.